Come get your birthday present. We're talking Apex Legends, specifically Lifeline, the combat medic.
This place is something else. Let's go.
Jake, what's the rundown on this character?
Lifeline is support heal character. She has a heal drone. She's got some really cool passive abilities called Combat Medic, and she has an ultimate that can basically equip your team if used properly. And I think the number one takeaway with Lifeline is that your team should be feeding your ultimate accelerants to Lifeline, and she should just be calling in those care packages as much as possible, because you can get some really good drops off that. You can't get any weapons, but you can get level 3 armor, you can get the digital threat.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's the number one takeaway.
Yeah, definitely. Like those ultimate accelerants that are scattered across the map, whenever I see one, if I have a Lifeline on my team, I am calling it out and giving it to her.
Ultimate accelerant here.
Yeah, the care package is interesting because at some point in the game or in a match, you don't necessarily want to call that down, right? It will give away your position if you're, say you have everything you need in a squad. That being said, can you speak on like the later stages, like when the circle is getting tight? There's other uses with that care package.
I've found that when you get later into the round, and especially if you're stuck in an area with no cover, throwing that down can also serve as some cover for your team.
Totally.
Obviously, the team's going to know exactly where you are, but hey, that could protect you from gunfire from pretty much any direction if you are able to follow it.
Yeah. The other thing about her care package I found interesting was that Lifeline's care packages are white and blue, whereas the natural airdrops in the game are white and red. So if you're scavenging across the land and you see a white and blue care package that's not yours, chances are there's an enemy Lifeline nearby, which is a good call out, I think.
Yeah, they also won't show up on your mini-map. So those little blue circles that show up, those are for the naturally occurring care packages, but hers will not. So if you see one dropping and you don't see that marker on your map, it's probably another team.
Let's rein it back to her tactical, which is Doc, the heal drone. What can you say about the heal drone?
I mean, that's pretty much what it is. You throw it down. I think it's got about a minute cooldown, and it heals your teammates for a set amount of time as long as they're close to it. It also heals enemies, which is an interesting thing you found out.
Right, so as much as you'd like to throw down the heal drone, there's a time for it, right? So not necessarily when you're, under fire in the thick of it with enemies right next to you, but if you have found a nice shooting spot and your team has kind of posted up and are attacking, as a support character does, you want to like lay that right behind your team and to call it out, definitely. I think the last thing with the heal drone too is that if you have a downed teammate, throw that thing before you revive them. So the second they are revived, they can be getting that health.
Heard that.
Enemy down.
Up next, her passive, the combat medic.
I think it's my favorite passive in the game.
Yeah, totally. Healing items, that's shield batteries, syringes, medkits, phoenix kits are 25% faster. That's big. Overall faster revive, and you throw down a shield in front of you.
And this shield is pretty much indestructible, right? You
Right.
can't get grenades through it. You can't get bullets through it. Obviously, if you come at her from a different angle, you can shoot it. Or I think if you lob a grenade over, there's a chance it could hit her.
Right,
But it's pretty impenetrable if you know how to line that up.
Totally, which plays in the fact that you want to be conscious of where you're putting it. You want to be forward fronting against incoming fire, because that's where that shield's going to drop.
And aggressive healing with her isn't a bad idea. I mean, I wouldn't do it all the time, but because of that shield, if you're in a firefight and you see a downed teammate, if you can make it to them and start healing, you'll be safe while you're doing that.
Well, those are her 3 main abilities. Any final thoughts, Jake, you have?
One thing I would say is that I think you can play her... Well, typically you probably want to stay behind your team and offer support. You can play her kind of aggressively just because of how quickly she can heal herself with syringes and shield cells and whatnot. So a lot of times I found myself flanking and I was able to do a lot of damage that way because I could fire a couple rounds, maybe knock someone and then run back and use a bunch of shield cells to heal and just keep doing that while the rest of my team was focusing fire or, supplying cover fire for me.
Yeah, definitely. The last thing I saw that I found kind of interesting was the gold helmet, which the perk on that regens tactical and ultimate abilities far quicker. If you have one, you could kind of be a cool teammate and give it to a Lifeline so she can drop her care packages quicker. You could do that. I just thought that was interesting.
I'll do that from now on.
For sure. Well, thank you, Jake, and thank you guys for watching. We have more Apex Legends guides coming down the road, so stay tuned to GameSpot.